not here.
Okay.
But that won't be surprising, as I mentioned, because once again, the seventh parliament, which he presides over as a speaker, will expire in no time by midnight. So what happens is that they will be kept somewhere. The two of them will be kept somewhere.
Okay.
After the processes are exhausted, then the one who is elected speaker, be it Alban Barbin or Michael Quay, Professor Aaron Michael Quay, he will be ushered into the chamber for him to be sworn in by the Chief Justice. So the only time we will see any of them in this chamber today or after midnight will be after the voting processes are exhausted and then the winner declared. Then that winner will then be brought here, and then the Chief Justice will administer the oath of office. Okay. After which the Speaker will then also swear in the members of Parliament elect, and then Parliament, 8th Parliament, will so properly be constituted. Yes, so Professor Ron Michael Quay is not here, and he's not expected here. Okay. Alban Barbin is not here. He's equally not expected here.
Okay, so that essentially means that all members of Parliament from the 7th Parliament who are not going into the 8th Parliament, like Dr. Okoboy,
yes, so
like Marcus Ibe-Yeboah, they are not.
But of course,
okay.
For now, there's calm here.
Okay, okay.
For now, there's calm here. There was initial semblance of chaos because of the decision by the NDC MPs elect to occupy the majority side of the aisle.
Okay.
But I think now calm has been restored. The NPP members of Parliament elect have accordingly occupied the minority side of the aisle. And that is what it is now.
Okay.
Nothing chaotic. Some tense mood. You can tell that some members of Parliament belonging to the NPP are not happy about the turn of event. But of course, that's what has happened.
Okay.
I'm not sure anybody can physically come and dislodge the NDC members of Parliament elect who have decided to occupy the majority side of the House. And about a week or so ago, I spoke to Member of Parliament I'm talking about Kisel Atoforsen.
Okay.
I spoke to him, and he mentioned categorically that this is exactly what is going to happen. Atoforsen, I mean, a Member of Parliament for Ejumaku Enyang Esiam, and that's exactly what has happened. So it was a script that has just been manifested to the letter at hearing. So nothing much here. We will return to you in the studio as you engage your panelists. If there is any other development, definitely, we will return and then give viewers update. But as we speak now, the majority in the 7th Parliament, which we are still in the 7th Parliament, but then is sitting where the minority is supposed to sit. And then the minority in the 7th Parliament, we are still in the 7th Parliament, is sitting where the majority is supposed to sit. That is the story here from the chamber of Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Thierry.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim Alhassan. Some very interesting sights that we are getting from Parliament, gentlemen. It's good to see them doing this in a very jovial manner. I think it's very important. It sends a significant message that it's not war. It's just democracy as we're having it at the moment. And so they can handle this in the best way possible. Of course, Ibrahim did mention that when Katie Hammond went in, he did try to be Katie Hammond as we know him to be, but essentially he was moved away in a very jovial way. But Prof and Doc, I know you both want to say, but Prof, I'll start with you because I cut you off when you were talking about the hung parliament. But what do you make of the sites?
Well, let me say that I'm not surprised, and I find it as interesting. Let me put on record and say that for the little research that I have done, the little I know about some few parliaments, Ghana's parliament is just a very quiet parliament. Have you observed the UK parliament before? The House of Commons, especially when they are doing their prime minister's questions. Very rowdy, very chaotic. And sometimes when people are talking about parliament being chaotic and people are not serious or not that, I laugh. If you know how parliaments work, sometimes this is the relief you get out of being in the chamber. So I'm not surprised. And at the end of the day, tomorrow, when the 8th Parliament begins its life in earnest, you will see the MPP sitting on the right side of the speaker.
You think so?
I believe so. And
Dr. Usu-Mensah, do you agree?
That is what is going to happen.
You think?
That is what is going to happen,
Dr.
not that
Usu-Mensah,
I think.
how easy or difficult is that going to be? How long do you expect that we'll be here tonight?
Oh, and let me make a point that your correspondent said. He said that he was not expecting Professor Michael Quay to be in the House. But that is wrong.
Oh,
Michael
really?
Quay has a duty to come and dissolve the 7th Parliament.
As the Speaker of the 7th
yes.
Parliament.
And then he walks out.
Okay. But at this moment, isn't it early for him to be there? Possibly like 11:30 he could show up.
I don't know what time it is, but the
Okay.
point is that he's supposed to come, and I also expect Honorable Abambabi to be there because a member of the 7th Parliament.
Yes.
So all of them are supposed to be there for the Parliament to be dissolved.
Okay.
And then the normal practice is that all the 7 Parliament members are supposed to be in the House, so that when they finish dissolving, when it's dissolved, then they walk out.
Okay.
And then the new members of Parliament then will walk in.
Okay.
And of course, those who were able to retain their seat will not have to go out. But those who lost will have to go out for the new people to come, the new members to come.
But is there anything normal about the situation that we're in right now?
No, it is not normal. But you see, I'm happy about what Prof said. You know, in other parliament, as we speak now, you may want to know what is going on in the Senate of the US.
Yes.
It is so...
It's acrimonious.
That's the word.
Yeah.
But the point is that in Ghana, we know ourselves. Let's forget about NPC and the PP making all the complaints. By tomorrow, I'm very optimistic that all this will be solved. If, for instance, the minority set to sit where they are a matter of increasing the numbers on the left. Because and I remember in the parliament, the 2nd Parliament, the sitting was opposite. The minority was sitting where the majority are sitting now. So there's a matter of moving some chairs here, and they will be happy themselves, and you will see them hanging each other. It's a long time. Why is it going? Let's move on. Ghana is where the country we have.
As a political scientist, what are the chances that a member of parliament, and I'm calling them member of parliament because by then they will have been sworn in, of the 8th Parliament will vote for the opponent?
In terms of the speaker?
In terms of the speaker.
To be honest,
what are the chances? Looking at the figures as we have them, are we possibly going to have a situation of 140?
I don't expect it. In fact, from as a podcast manager, I can say that this is where they're going to apply the 3rd line whip.
What's that?
The 3rd line whip is that we have the 1st line whereby each member of parliament is given the opportunity to think about the issues on the ground and vote according to his conscience. The 2nd line is whereby they will tell you that this is our interest and we expect all members to vote in this line. That's the 2nd line. The 3rd line is that this is where we are going. Whether you like it or not, you must follow the line.
But it's a secret ballot.
It's a secret ballot. You remember in the 2005 Parliament, whereby NPP proposed Honorable Right Serge Hughes, and NDC proposed Honorable Alain Jete.
Yes.
What did the NPP do?
Who was the NPP speaker?
Yes. What did the NPP do? They told themselves that if you write the name, show it to your next colleague to inspect the name that you've written. And I expect that today either they will do the same or they even go higher to expect that every member of the party that belongs to that part of the chamber will vote according to the will of the party.
But the clerk of parliament has said that they're not going to allow for such to happen. They're going to ensure that every single person's vote is actually secret.
It depends on...
They have given the assurance. They have said that they are going to put in place, processes to ensure that they are distanced. Nobody, essentially, per what they promise, is going to be able to see what the other is voting for.
No, you see, when you talk about secret ballots, there are levels of secret ballots.
Okay.
For instance, we want to cast our vote now. Everybody take your sheet of paper, write the name, and come and put it in a box. That is the number 2. It can also be, when you come to the box, you are given the paper to write and then put inside.
Yes.
So that is also there.
Yes.
But there can also be a case whereby when the papers are given out and you write, before you go and put inside, you show it to your colleagues. So it depends on what level
in the event they adopt, will give you a paper you write and put it in the box.
That will be
anything
difficult.
Could happen. We could have a 140, 135.
Yes, anything could happen because, politics is about compromises, about negotiation and so many other factors. And don't forget, they are politicians. And as they walk into parliament now, they are thinking about the next election.
Yes.
So if, for instance, I belong to Party A, and Party A have come to see me that, look, come what may, we will not be able to win. And the party B says, oh, you know what, let's get some 1 million for you for your constituency development for this and that project. You will think about
that
it.
Would definitely be the governing party with the 1 million one constituency.
Sometimes the opposition can be richer than the government.
I see.
Yeah, so...
Prof, do you foresee possibly that which party, as someone who has studied the political parties and studied the members of parliament, of the 8th parliament, not the 7th, which party is likely, possibly, to have a member of parliament switch, create a situation whereby what you expect is not what happens?
The NDC.
The NDC?
Yes.
Why?
Because, you see, I can't foresee a situation where an NPP MP will betray the confidence of the president.
Let me give you some scenarios, as some have put forward, before you continue. Okay. Some have suggested that this will be the last term of the president. Possibly he has a favorite. And so in order to make that favorite less popular and reduce the chances of competing with them, should they want to contest the presidency in 2024, they would much rather side with the NDC. Some have also suggested that possibly the speaker, that's the current speaker of the 7th Parliament, Professor Michael Queen, may have stepped on some toes. And that member of parliament elect, who will be the member of parliament for the 8th Parliament, may prefer Alban Bagbin. Some just also suggest that they want to test the waters and see how the situation will be. We've never had it before. We may never have it again. So why not test it? What is the worst that could happen? That could possibly be their thinking. These are various scenarios that could go wrong. Could go both ways. But if it was the case for the NPP, could it not be possible?
Well, these are very interesting scenarios. But honestly,
no,
I don't see it going that way. Because, you see, you have a certain precedent. And there's a president who, by the votes, has performed so well, getting 51-point-something%.
So
and
well?
Then, and, yeah,
as compared to 2016?
Oh, but of course,
when he beat a sitting president and didn't, by almost 1 million. This one was
factors and contexts are very different.
Okay.
2016, opposition, the then government in power, the then president, and that is a different scenario altogether.
To 2020.
And I think that 51-point-something% is a huge win.
I see.
And so the president shouldn't
worry.
On
what basis? With what comparison?
Should not worry at all. You see, when you go into an election, I took part in the campaign, and we went to the grounds and we heard what people said.
When you say you took part in the campaign, you mean?
Yeah, of course, generally campaigning, moving up
for
and
one
down.
Party or the other, or as Odikro?
We will get there.
Okay.
We will get there.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to say is that it was clear that the president was going to win. No two ways about that.
Okay.
In fact, by my own calculations, as I spoke with friends, I predicted 51%. Because I couldn't see the president getting the 53-point-something% he had in 2016. Okay. It was not going to be possible. All right? Because you have been in government, things have happened. You stepped on toes, as you mentioned, and several things have gone on. And then you are going into an election, and then all of a sudden, corruption perception goes up. Obviously, you are going to lose the most discerning voters. You
not
understand
just that we have Ijapa, we have Martin Amidu, we have Daniel Domilovo, we have, there are a number of,
yes.
I could go on.
It's unfortunate those things happen. But in terms of the MPs, we knew some were going to lose because, we were looking at some trying to fly on the back of the president's projects and all that. The people were asking, okay, you as an MP, what have you done? If we are talking about free SHS, that's the president's flagship program. So if you also come to tell us about free SHS, what do you expect from us? What have you done? So it was clear that, but for me, the president's win by 51.3% is huge. And but I believe the political scientists will agree with me.
Doc, so, I have to, just to get some education, I don't know whether you have the figures on you, but for a second-term president, would 51%, looking at even if it's from 2000 to 2020, is it significant for a second-term president?
Yes.
Okay.
It's significant
It's
for second
significant.
time
Okay.
president. Very significant. And you don't forget, even Professor Mills, when he was coming for the first term, he didn't have what Akufo-Addo had for the second term. So for winning that match, I think
It's
that was
significant.
enough.
Okay. Okay.
And then you shouldn't
Assuming
forget,
that the election petition
yes,
doesn't change the result as we have
it. We
it.
are talking about
But
what
as we have it at
what
the
we have it
moment,
now.
yes.
And don't forget, you raise a very important thing. And one of the very important factors that also dropped the votes of the president is the Galamsey fight. Apart from the corruption issue that emerged in the last minute, the Galamsey fight, I had the opportunity of going to Western region and some part of Central region as well. And this Galamsey also had impact on the votes in the Northern region, where there were a lot of people from the northern part of the country who had come to that area to be engaged in this Galamsey. And unfortunately, the school system fell out and they were not happy. So having gotten 51%, I think he did very well,
Okay.
very well in the given circumstance. And also the cost of the banking crisis.
That affected him.
That had a
as well.
significant impact.
Did
on
corruption play a role?
Oh yeah, corruption. God, we
Okay.
asked question. We also predicted 51% from 50.
Yes,
we predicted
you did.
51.7.
Yes.
And the point is that we asked people, what are the factors that would determine the choice of vote that you do? PHS, of course, the number one. And then corruption was there. There's so many other factors that people considered.
Okay.
And the banking crisis was one
Was
of them as well.
Okay. Will the MPP's race for 2024, I say the MPP's race because the NDC, Prof, I'll let you, you want to respond briefly?
Something
Okay,
he
go ahead.
mentioned that has triggered something for me. The issue of Galamsey.
Okay.
And let me say this. Yesterday when I watched and listened to the
State
president,
of the Nation address.
the State of the Nation address, when the president spoke about Galamsey
and having
and said that we should have a national conversation, I felt so sad. Because I could see in the president a kind of disappointment. There is a problem, a national crisis that he's trying to fight, yet that is about costing him his presidency. And so the question is, should we go fighting Galamsey, protecting our environment, and lose elections? Or should we allow people to go in there, destroy the environment, and then we win our elections and move on? So this is a dilemma. And I'm saying that, and by
requesting
platform,
for a national conversation.
Yeah, so I would say that the president should not worry himself at all. He shouldn't be worried about that at all. He has done so much well. And what he has done is for future generations to exonerate him. He should continue the fight. Perhaps what he should be looking at is the kinds of appointees who go into those areas to help the president fight this. Because you see, you had a situation where in the course of fighting Galamsey, excavators were seized. And then all of a sudden we hear excavators have gone missing.
Huge excavators just disappeared.
And these same people whose excavators were seized were able to trace the excavators to other places people were using them to mine.
Yeah.
What do you expect? So perhaps the president should be confident enough. He has done well. I respect him. I agree with him on every action he has taken in terms of Galamsey, because it's sad when you go to the hinterlands and see what is going on. So you should not worry.
Would you say the fight was successful the first 4 years? Maybe suggest that it started well, the water bodies cleared, but getting closer to the end of his first term, everything, the ball dropped and everything just went back to normal.
Exactly the point. So now, Mr. President, just sit back. Maybe when you do the appointments and all that, those who go fighting Galamsey on your behalf should be people who the president should trust so much. People who will do the right thing so that we can do this kind of fight. If you go to, if you have traveled to, say, Takoradi recently, you look at River Pra. If you go to Kumasi through Asen, Fosu, go and see River Pra. We are killing the water bodies. So for me, the president should not be worried.
Okay. He
is on the right path. We should fight this for future generations. So for me, that is an issue that we have had as a people. He was on the floor. You were going to that. Said I wanted to keep him.
Yes, and we have to move on because we're talking about Parliament, but we still managed to get back into the presidency. Yes, briefly.
I think that the fight for Galamsey, it cannot be compromised, but the approach should be looked at again.
Okay.
I think that's where my issue will be.
Okay.
Galamsey.
Doc, back to Parliament.
Yeah.
Ministerial appointments.
Yeah.
Majority of them must come from Parliament.
Yeah.
In a situation where numbers are so important at this time, and I'm sure Odikro will have a lot to say about this. How does this all work? Because now you will have majority of the members of Parliament in the 8th Parliament being ministers.
Yeah.
That is, of course, if we don't have a situation where many have ruled out, where the president appoints a few from the opposition party, or depending on what the situation really plays out tonight, whoever the opposition party is. But the NDC, let me be specific.
Yeah.
So how is Parliament going to work now, where we have these number of ministers as MPs?
I have said that the president should not appoint regional ministers from Parliament, this Parliament. Because in the past, you remember the regional minister for Northeast is a member of Parliament for Bunkrugu. The regional minister for Bono East is a member of Parliament for Atebubu. In the, if you come to the Ahafu area too, I will propose that you should not appoint regional ministers from Parliament this time around. Maybe the maximum should be the Greater Accra regional minister, because his office is just here. Can just even walk to Parliament if you want. But beyond that, this Parliament is going to be a very special Parliament at the end of the day. Because if you appoint your ministers and some deputy ministers for Parliament, there can be a program in, let's say, Sunyane, and the minister has to be there. Teachers are having a conference, or doctors are having a conference. You have to be there to open their conference. So he has to. But the point of emphasis is that you have no option, but the cabinet, majority of the cabinet ministers must be appointed from the House, and he has no option but to do that. But the point of appointing people from the NDC side, I don't think that given what happened with Martin Amidu, the president will do that. I don't think that the president will do that. And even the party will not allow him to do that. Okay. Yeah.
So is it because it's the NDC or because it's another party? Because we have Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndum.
No, we're talking about members of
administration. So we're talking about the NDC specifically.
Now we have only two members, only two parties there. So either you appoint from your party in Parliament or you appoint from other members of your party. But I don't envy the president because he has a huge rapporteur of people to appoint from. The members of Parliament who lost the primaries.
Yes.
Yeah, they had what do you call a group called Aspirants for? Is it Aspirants for now? Aspirants for Children? What is
Aspirants Unite for Victory.
Aspirants Unite for Victory. They are looking up to be appointed. We have members of Parliament who also lost their seats. They are looking up to be appointed. We have new members of Parliament who want to be appointed so they can be resourced enough to help their constituents to go on and win their seat again.
When we come back from the break, we'll have to discuss the 110 and whether we need that number, looking at the wide pool that the president has this time round. This is your Election Hub, GH1 Television. Stick and stay. We'll be right back.
Hello, viewers. I'm feeling very frustrated and bored in Sambulai. I'm very happy. If you don't understand, don't worry, because myself, I don't understand. In this edition, Vodafone Ghana has now made it possible to send money from Vodafone Cash to all network free. We will cross over to our senior reporter for more details.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm standing in front downtown. You know, I'm learning to make a vlog. I'm not funny at the set. Vodafone, I'm not quite set. What do you miss? Emily, do